this is not the only team in Kentucky that's ranked in the top 25 right now. Louisville just got themselves ranked in the top 25 as well. The Bluegrass State is doing pretty well for themselves in football season. Usually, if you want to see multiple teams in the state of Kentucky ranked in the top 25, you would have to wait until basketball season. But that's not the case here. So Louisville is undefeated. They're 5-0, but Louisville, who have they played? Who have they actually played so far? They really haven't played anybody. They beat Georgia Tech by 5, Indiana by 7, an FCS matchup. They did blow out Boston College, but their most recent game, defensive slugfest against NC State. They won by 3. That previous game that they played, the NC State game, that is the only team that Louisville has played that we currently have in our top 50 in terms of our power ratings. So forget top 25. NC State is the only team in the top 50 that Louisville has played. So this is going to be Louisville's biggest game of the season. They'll have some other ranked games after this, but as of right now, this is the toughest game that Louisville will play this season. Notre Dame, on the other hand, I'm really curious to see what is the mentality of this Notre Dame team. Because this Notre Dame team, this would be their third top 25 matchup in a row. Notre Dame, they lost a heartbreaker to Ohio State. That was at home. Then they had to go on the road to take on Duke. That was a close game as well, 7-point game. And then now, third top 25 game in a row. And listen, I think Notre Dame is the more talented team than what Louisville is. But also, at the same time, you're still talking about primarily 18 to 22-year-old kids. So there's more volatility than maybe what you would see in the NFL. So that's what I'm really curious about. How does Marcus Freeman get his guys mentally and emotionally ready to get up for this game again? Because trying to bring your A game, or at least like a B+ game, which I don't think Notre Dame necessarily needs to bring their A game to win, but they can't be sloppy either. Like Louisville, they're 5-0, and while maybe their 5-0 isn't as good as maybe other 5-0s in the country, Louisville can still play. I don't think they're ranked, but I think they can still play. I think they can give Notre Dame a tough time. All right, so if there's a little bit of a weird transition between that last point and now, so that was because I had to take my dogs out real quick. I want to make sure that they don't end up pissing themselves. Anyone that's a dog owner sure can completely understand that. But going back to what I was saying, interesting game here between Notre Dame and Louisville. But what precisely is at stake? Besides the obvious that is the college football playoff. Well, Notre Dame is actually looking for its 31st consecutive win over an ACC opponent. They extended to 30 games after they beat Duke on the previous weekend. College game day was down there. Big moment for Duke. And while Duke held their own for sure, they could not come out on top against Notre Dame. Louisville, on the other hand, another team that did just recently jumped into the top 25. First time this season that we've seen Louisville in the top 25. They're going to be seeking their first 6-0 start since 2013. And what Louisville is also attempting to do is that they are looking to break a 2-game losing streak that they currently have going against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, what does Louisville have to its advantage? Well, Louisville does have history with the current quarterback of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They do have history with Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman played against this Louisville team last season, but it was not with the Notre Dame team that we see him on today. This was back when he was with Lake Forest, and he did throw for a decent chunk of yards, 271 yards, but got picked off 3 times, which is more interceptions than what Sam Hartman has thrown the entire season so far. 2 of those interceptions that he threw were returned for touchdowns, and Louisville was eventually able to rout Lake Forest 48-21. It left Hartman 2 of 3 in his attempts to beat Louisville. So Sam Hartman does have experience playing against this Louisville squad, but Louisville, conversely, has experience against Sam Hartman. And they're going to need that help too, because, I mean, Sam Hartman's having a good year, 14 touchdowns. He has not thrown a single interception yet. And he's done it despite throwing over the 140 times. He's already has a school record for most consecutive passing attempts without throwing an interception. Louisville's passing defense is not the worst, though. It's not great. It's about middle of the pack in terms of where their pass defense stands within the ACC, but they did hold NC State to just 112 yards through the air. They got multiple sacks. They got multiple interceptions as well, including a clutch interception by Quincy Riley that happened with about 90 seconds left to play. Granted, it was when Brendan Armstrong was starting for NC State. He recently got benched for MJ Morris. He'll be taking over for NC State, at least in their next matchup against Marshall. But we've seen this Louisville defense step up in terms of their pass defensive capabilities. So we have seen that so far. Can they do it again, though? That'll be a big-time question. Can Sam Hartman continue to take good care of the football? Because as long as he takes really good care of the football, Notre Dame, of course, will have a really good shot of winning this game. But what else do we want to go ahead and keep in mind moving forward? How about the players to watch in this game? I think both of them got to go with the running backs in this game. Audric Estime. You could probably roast me down in the comment section over this, but this dude is a stud. Dude is really freaking good. I've seen him play multiple times this year. The Ohio State game. I've seen him play in the Navy game. Dude just pops off the screen. He plays great ball. Leading the nation right now in rushing yards. Over almost 600 rushing yards. 700 rushing yards to this point. Doing off of 95 carries. 7 touchdowns. Estime, he is averaging 7 yards a carry. So every time he gets the ball, he's almost guaranteed to pick up a first down. Now, last couple of games, 2 of the games that Notre Dame has played, 2 of their tougher games, he has not been able to put that same impact. Was held to 70 against Ohio State. He was held to 81 yards against Duke. Still good numbers, but not the eye-popping numbers that we saw early in September. What we saw against NC State or Central Michigan, for example, or their FCS matchup against Tennessee State either. So we'll see if he can find a rhythm once again. He did end up with a 30-yard scamper with 31 seconds left. That did get them over the top against Duke. And his 7.1 yards per carry also has him ranked in the top 10 in terms of all FBS running backs. That entails all 133 teams. Likewise, Jalar Jordan, the running back for Louisville, he's also nobody to slouch at either. Now, he was contained last week in that NC State game. He had just 32 yards on 16 carries. Disgusting. But we knew the NC State defense is a pretty nasty group overall. The question with NC State, can they get enough from their offense in order to really cement themselves as that dark horse contender to win the ACC? The answer has been resoundingly no. But their defense at NC State is really good. So those 32 yards on 16 carries, while it's not good. It's not good at all. At the same time, not the worst team to run just a couple of yards per carry on. He does lead the ACC, though, with over 100 rushing yards a game. He's the only running back in the ACC who's able to do that. And Ja'Lar Jordan, he knows how to make the home run happen. He's a home run hitter. He leads the FBS right now with 3 separate scrimmage plays of over 70 yards. 2 of them came on the ground. And he's also someone that's ranked in the top 10, actually ranked higher than Audric Estime right now. He's currently 6th nationally, and he has a slightly higher yards per carry average of 7.3. The difference between him and Audric is that he doesn't have as many opportunities to run the ball, but this is also a dynamic running back in this particular matchup. He can hold his own against Estime in the one-on-one battle. So whoever is able to get their ground game going first, I think is going to have an advantage. I think we're going to get some good quarterback play. While Sam Hartman, I think, is the better quarterback in this matchup. Louisville's got a solid quarterback too. For those of you that don't know, Jack Plummer is the starter on this Louisville team. He's the transfer over from Purdue. He started at Purdue. He then transferred to Cal, and then he transferred from Cal all the way to Louisville. And Jack Plummer, pretty good quarterback in his own right. A solid quarterback, not a liquid or a gas. While Sam Hartman is the better quarterback, I think Jack Plummer can also make some plays if he's given enough time. But whoever can get their ground game going more so, I think is going to have the ultimate advantage in this game. And speaking of that advantage, we'll check the Vegas line. We'll check the any given Saturday line as well. So as of this afternoon, when I'm recording this, Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite at the present moment. However, the model is more high on this particular game. They have Notre Dame listed as an 11-point favorite in this game. So on paper, it makes sense with what Notre Dame has been able to do for the most part this year. I think Notre Dame's strength of schedule is certainly at a much higher level than what we've seen from Louisville. Okay. So, I think Notre Dame is a better team than Louisville, but I go back to that emotions part. I go back to that emotion parts in college football. You got 18 to 22-year-olds on the field. You're going to have more volatility. You're going to have a little bit more variance than maybe what you would see at the professional level. And even though on paper it would make sense to go with Notre Dame, I think that Louisville, because of those emotions, because I think it's just so difficult to get up for that many games in a row, that many top 25 ranked matchups in a row, I think Notre Dame is going to stumble. I think Notre Dame is going to be upset on the road against Louisville. We're not only picking Louisville to cover this spread, we're also going to pick Louisville to win outright. And I think we are going to see a field storming in Louisville, Kentucky, Saturday night. That is, of course, a 7:30 kickoff on ABC, but I think we're going to have a premium. I think Louisville is going to have something special here. I think they'll be remaining undefeated when the dust settles. I truly believe that.